Hi, this is Anubhav from India, and thank you for having me over video for the book launch event. So, without much further ado, let me just quickly jump into my thoughts on the book, which I received in this wonderful package from Netherlands. And the book in its entirety had made a wonderful read, and it was filled with a lot of short stories and anecdotes from Hans' life, which talked about how simple experiences and how small things from day-to-day life can bring about and resolve complex social challenges. One of my favorite passages from the book has to be the one where Hans talks about diversity, and he was required to build a risk management team, and he ended up onboarding Myra from Brazil instead of hiring somebody locally, which would have been a default choice. A really good takeaway from that passage that you can find on page number 142 is a quote which says, diversity pays off if you are willing to invest in the time consuming process of inclusion. A little bit about myself: I've been associated with Perspectivity for roughly 3 years now. I've been a part of a few Indian and a lot of sessions outside India as well. Most recently, I was at Amnesty India and we had an open game session with 10 participants, which was very well received. We are also amidst discussions with the ORF, which is the Observers Research Foundation, and we have our annual sessions which happen there. I'm really looking forward to it and really excited about that. On a parting note, I really wanted to take this opportunity to thank a few key people who I've interacted with, especially Harman, Hein, Mikhail, Imre, Jaspreet, Nidhi, and everyone else who I've interacted with. They make the culture at Perspectivity so sticky and so nice, and everyone is so supportive of all the activities that happen around the network. That's from me, and have a great event and have fun. Bye.
Hey everyone, my name is Hein Omen. I live in Singapore, although right now I'm in Bintang, Indonesia, as you can see. I received a copy of Hans's book a couple weeks ago, and I'm afraid I don't have a favorite quote yet because I haven't finished reading. So who knows, my favorite quote might be at the last chapter, so I'll save that for another time. I met Hans in 2006 in the Verkadefabriek in Den Bosch, and we immediately connected over a shared passion for deploying our problem-solving skills that we had been taught at engineering school, to deploy those on basically fixing the world. And we both agreed that what the world currently needs is not more technology, but better ways for humans to interact to face the global social complex challenges of our time. To many, such a task may seem too abstract or even too overwhelming to even start to act upon. But Hans, like no other I've ever met before, was really able to distill all of that complexity into concrete, actionable list of tasks that basically paved the way for a movement that is now called Perspectivity. I feel truly proud to be part of this movement, and I therefore also highly recommend anyone to read Hans's book because it provides a great summary of the tools and methodologies that we can use to address this increasing list of global societal complex problems. All the best from Indonesia.
Kia ora, vanuit onze tuin hier in Wellington, Nieuw-Zeeland, waar wij sinds een paar maanden wonen. Allereerst onwijs bedankt voor het mooie boek wat ik heb mogen ontvangen van jullie een aantal weken geleden. Ik heb het met heel veel plezier gelezen. Ik ben al een aantal jaren actief bij Perspectivity geweest en had een aardig idee van waar Perspectivity voor stond. Maar het boek heeft me ontzettend veel meer context nog gegeven en ja, met name ook heel duidelijk geworden waarom Hans Perspectivity is gaan opzetten. En zijn persoonlijke drive lees je eigenlijk door het hele boek heen, wat ik heel erg mooi vond. Met name de persoonlijke illustraties vond ik erg krachtig. Ik vind het heel erg mooi als kleine stapjes heel groot effect kunnen hebben. En daarom vond ik het hoofdstuk over open questioning het meest krachtig. En het deel wat het meest bij mij zal blijven hangen. Met name het voorbeeld dat hij noemt in Tanzania bij het benzinestation. En waar het gaat over ook de vraag, hoe gaat het? Dat is namelijk een vraag waar ik zelf altijd heel veel moeite ook wel mee heb gehad. En door hoe Hans het heeft opgeschreven begrijp ik nu eigenlijk wat beter waarom ik er altijd zo moeite mee had. En ik ga die vraag nu vanaf nu proberen met een andere intentie te stellen. Ook ben ik wat meer gaan oefenen met het stellen van open vragen, wat ontzettend leuk is om te doen. Wel heel erg moeilijk, zoals Hans ook schrijft. Ik heb het boek dus een paar weken geleden ontvangen, wat de perfecte timing was. Want afgelopen weekend heb ik hier de eerste games mogen faciliteren in Auckland op Festival for the Future. Voor meer dan 500 jonge Nieuw-Zeelanders. Feedback was ontzettend goed, veel mooie dynamieken gezien. En daar gaat zeker meer hier uitkomen. Dus Perspectivity Nieuw-Zeeland is gelanceerd. En dat had geen mooiere gelegenheid kunnen zijn dan het festival. Ik hou jullie zeker op de hoogte van alles wat hier nog gaat komen. I'm really sorry I can't be there today. And I wish you all a very, very special book launch today. And congrats to all of you for the very beautiful result of the book.
My name is Dharmesh Mistry. I'm in the UK. I'd like to share a paragraph from Walking the Perspectivity Path, The Power of Dialogue by Hans Kaiser. It's from the chapter Habari. For Henriette and me, this experience was a decisive step in the perspectivity journey. It provided us with kind of an anchor. Every time we have to overcome polarized situations nowadays, it helps remind us that the other party may have better, or at least different, motives than we could have ever believed beforehand. Without necessarily going through all the steps mentioned in the assignment, it helps us formulate the genuinely opening question as referred to earlier in this chapter. In summary, it all amounts to getting rid of resentment based on prejudice and feelings of us and them before you start the conversation. This sounds simple, but it isn't. I invite you to try using a sparring partner and the above examples and assignments, and I promise you very positive surprises. My recent activities for Perspectivity, one most recently was with regards to an individual who was working on a public health challenge in their local city. And through conversation, perspectivity came up as a lot of the dynamics that she was struggling with were embodied in the dynamics of the game. And so through that, she's very excited to bring the stakeholders of her initiative around the board and encourage them to experience these dynamics in a safe environment. A personal project that I'm working on, I expect that the values and lessons I have learned around dialogue and even making a start will all come in very helpful as I continue to develop the narrative for this community innovation platform. With regards to perspectivity, it has been a part of my life for the last 8 years. I have made very good friends and I have learned a lot personally through the process. Through the varied experiences that I've had, whether it be through my work in India, my work in the corporate environment, and more recently the consultancy work that I've been doing. My interactions with Hans, both at the network meetings and over email, have always been very positive, a very supportive, thoughtful individual who I always felt had the interests of not just myself, but the work that I was committed to. And I believe a lot of Hans's spirit have been embodied in the network of people that Perspectivity has brought together and the values that Perspectivity continues to promote. I believe this book is going to be a fantastic resource for the future, and a reminder that in the complex world that we live in, a lot of the challenges can be approached through very simple mechanisms that Perspectivity and Hans has captured through this book.